on it. And they want you to believe your safety and your security is more important than your freedom, and that you can't even protect yourself. You can't even ensure your own safety. You need them. So here's one of the ways that they do it with Anthony Fauci, a guy who nobody should listen to ever unless he wants to do an admission from prison of all the things he's done, all the crimes against humanity. Otherwise, nobody should ever listen to this man. He now says that the pandemic has proved how racist America is. Oh, so his popularity is dwindling. He's being exposed as a fraud. He's being exposed as a liar. People are now looking at old letters to him, calling him a murderer. They're looking back on the history of Fauci. They're realizing he's a big pharmaceutical shill. So what do? Play the race card. Build back those leftist, liberal, progressive bonus points and say race. Racist this, racist that. Try to save your image. And of course, they already have the backdrop that they've built up. They've pumped up, they've humped up all this racist stuff. So it gives them the leverage, it gives them the capacity, it gives them the political points. So, oh, racism, yeah. And you're like, oh, wow, yeah, big racism. Ooh. It's like the Bitcoin of the victim currency. Is racism. It's trending up. It's 50,000. It's 100,000. Oh, racism. Ooh, I'll buy into that. Yeah. And so that's what they do as a safety net when they're losing popularity. So here's Anthony Fauci in clip 7 going with the race card as his popularity is dwindling.
Let us promise ourselves that our corporate memory of this tragic reality, that an infectious disease disparately hospitalizes and kills people of color, does not fade after we return to some form of normality. Righting this wrong will take a decades-long commitment. I strongly urge you to be part of that commitment.
So there you go. So he's reading a letter somebody else probably wrote from him, and then he's saying, oh, this racism is so bad, it's going to take decades to recover. See, you can never recover from racism. It's here forever. Fauci declares. So that's how they do it. That's how their propaganda works. And then the people that like the victim economy, the racists out there that love everything being based on race and identity politics, they buy in and they say, that's right. That's right. It's racist. And then they can spin off of that any agenda they want, any execution of an agenda they want, if they just bring racism. And then as soon as you question it, say, oh, you're a racist, aren't you? Like voter ID. Racist! You don't like government shutdowns for the pandemic. Racist! You don't want to take a vaccine. Racist! And then they use that like it's just like a purse of currency that they can just dip into any time, and it just replenishes. Just racist. Hey, this isn't working. Go. Here, have some of the racist. Have some of the racist currency. Here you go. Yeah. The Americans want their kids back in schools. Oh, boy, this isn't good. What are we going to do? Here, we've got some extra racism currency. Take this and use it on air. Parents want to send their kids back to school. It's clearly racist. And then somehow Americans cower in fear, oh my gosh, don't call me a racist. And, I realized something, too, about January 6th. And look, we're all such good people. We're almost too good, quite frankly. We're too nice. We're too tolerant because even after, Trump is guilty of this, too. Trump threw us under the bus on January 6th. He's kind of backtracked from it now. But, he's like, oh, it's bad. It's horrible. They're criminals. Arrest them all. Yeah. January 6th got a little bit out of control. There was some violence against the police. There was a little bit of violence there at the building, too. Property damage. Not in denial of that. But in comparison to what we saw from the Democrats when they riot, it's like a mouse that roared compared to a whole stampede of elephants and rhinos and gorillas. And we're like a little mouse over here that's like, ee! It's like, look at that mouse! Just stampeding elephants and woolly mammoths, too. You're like, what the hell? It's like, oh, but there's a mouse over there. No, we should have rejected their narrative of January 6th. And quite frankly, at a certain level, we should have been proud of it. We should have been proud of what happened on January 6th. But they stole that from us. So I'm digressing here. The point is, we're too tolerant of these people. We're too tolerant of the Anthony Fauci's. We're too tolerant of the Bill Gates. We're too tolerant of the Bidens. We're too tolerant of the liberal media. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing we're not in the wild, wild west anymore. Maybe it's a good thing we're not in 1776 and people's, aren't being faced with actual violent wars in their backyard. Maybe it's a bad thing because it's eventually going to lead to our enslavement. Maybe time will tell. But now you've got celebrities coming out talking about how bad their vaccine side effect was, whether it's Ben Stein, now Eric Clapton. You bastards! You bastards! Eric Clapton fears he'll never be able to play guitar again thanks to the COVID jab. You bastards! You're bastards that you would take away Eric Clapton from the world. You sick freaks that killed Hank Aaron, the home run king, that killed Marvin Hagler. You bastards that you would take that from us. And now you want to take Eric Clapton's ability to play guitar? You bastards. You are just sick. Big Pharma is the devil. Oh, sorry, excuse me. But so here's now, quote unquote, comedian Chelsea Handler talking about her side effects after getting the vaccine.
Okay, so I got my second shot of Moderna today, and I feel really sick, and it's only been 4 hours.
This is going to make it tenfold. A month.
Follow me on Twitter for
is now considered
long. They're neo.
So much great work over the last 2 years.
These people, when you where I was in,
I mean, at what
freaking community show the public just on YouTube.
Wrong with it? President of the United States. But that's
leader of Canada, Trudeau, saying, I want to be a dictator like Xi Jinping. That's a real video. I want to be a Chinese dictatorship. What do you want to grow up and be, Trudeau? I want to be a dictator like Xi Jinping.
reason why she said that was because she was being roughed around by police officers. They literally leave out the fact that the reason why the police officers were roughing people around was because these rioters, prior to this clip, were attempting to burn down a federal building with police officers inside of it, okay? So they accuse us of leaving things out and selectively editing, but that's literally what they did in this piece, this smear piece, to try and say that we selectively edited and left stuff out. They did the very same thing they accused us of doing, and that's what these people do. And you know what's interesting, Owen, is they got ratioed hard on Twitter, okay? They got over 500,000 views, but the only reason they did was because thousands of people actually came to our side and came to our defense and ratioed the hell out of them on their own Twitter. There were even leftists in the comment section that were like, this is a little too far. How can you accuse these guys of smearing Black Lives Matter when you have footage of Black Lives Matter rioting, looting, and committing mass arson? This one doesn't add up. Honestly, I feel like that was the most hilarious part about this.
I mean, at what point, and this is not the, this is not the result, this is not the conclusion, this is not what we want to see, but I mean, at what point do we as Americans say, you know what, fine, go ahead, defund the police, fine, I won't go cover these riots, and we'll just let these people destroy cities. Again, I don't want that. That's not what I want. I like cities. I like metropolitan areas. I like having a civilization functioning. But it's like, at what point do we draw back and say, fine, here's what you're asking for, here's what you're really asking for, and just, let it commence for a couple nights until they realize, okay, wow, this is actually violent groups of terrorists. Maybe we should have been honest about this and tried to stop it.
I agree. I totally, my heart hurts when you think about even thinking about that, right? Because, innocent people are going to get caught in the crossfire. But the problem is a lot of people in these communities support this stuff. They support Black Lives Matter. They support Antifa, especially in Portland. It's shocking. A lot of people don't know that, but a lot of the locals in Portland shockingly support Antifa. When you go out there and you cover this stuff, you actually see them coming outside of their houses screaming at police officers. So I kind of I do agree with you, Owen. I think people, if this is what they want, this is what they should get. If they don't want police officers, pull the police officers out, put them in cities where they'll be respected and they can do their jobs where they're actually wanted. Because I think that's what the American people want at this point. We have to give people what they want. If they don't want police officers, if they want crime running rampant in their freaking communities, then that's what they're going to get. If they want to disrespect police officers and defund the hell out of them and put their families out on the street, then you know what? Let's take them out of those cities, put them in states, put them in cities where they'll be respected and they can do their jobs, where they can keep us safe while your cities burn to the ground. And you can have Black Lives Matter and Antifa policing your neighborhoods. How about that?
Yeah, and maybe this is one of our shortcomings, and it's noble. It's noble in the cause, but it's like it's time we just need to stop fighting for these Democrat cities. We still want to try to save some of these Democrat cities and lift them back up, and maybe it's time to just say, hey, you know what? This is a Democrat city now. It's gone. Let it go. Let the poverty increase. Let the violence increase. Let all the businesses leave, and all these Democrat-run cities will be slums. And like you said, hey, cities that want police, cities probably run by Republicans, mostly conservative areas, Trump voters. Hey, you want some extra police? We'll give you some extra police. You want to have a safer community? You can have a safer community. We'll build up those communities. We'll form our own strongholds in those communities. And then you can fairly see the contrast as if it's, not there enough to observe. But then it's like, yeah, look, this is what you vote for. These are Democrat cities. Slums, hellholes, poverty, starvation, violence, crime, no economy, versus conservative areas with police, economy's booming, people are safe, schools are better. So maybe it's just time for that to really reach a point where there's no debate and you can compare and contrast and say, wow, Democrat policy, Democrat-run cities creates third world hellholes.
I totally agree. Sometimes we just have to give people what they want. It sounds so sad. And, a lot of conservatives, patriots, we hear that, and it's like, Drew, Owen, why are you guys talking like this? We're not going to bend the knee to Black Lives Matter or the neo-communist and the globalists. That's not what we're saying. Sometimes I think we have to let the enemy gain some strategic ground so we can actually show the public just exactly what their ideas look like in real life, okay? Because these things may sound amazing on paper, they sound amazing on TV. Oh, my goodness, the black people are being